Hello and welcome to this ROLI Equator2 tutorial. In this video we're going to take a look at the multimod modulation sources. Multimods are a modulation source which can behave like an LFO, envelope, step sequencer or a combination of all three. There are two multimod sources which work identically. In order to work with the multipoint envelopes, it can be easier to expand the sources so that you have more room. Multimods come with a selection of factory presets which can get you started, but understanding the various modes will help you to get the best from them. The right hand side allows you to draw envelope shapes. You can add and remove nodes by double clicking the mouse. The curve between the nodes is fully adjustable. The Draw, Grid and Snap options affect how the envelope reacts to editing. The grid number dictates how many grid lines the envelope is divided into. This doesn't change the envelope, but if you have Snap enabled, it will dictate where breakpoints are drawn or moved to. Draw mode will generally be left on free, but if you want to use the multimod source as a step sequencer, then Steps mode will allow you to edit multiple nodes at once whilst keeping them together, resulting in a more step-like pattern. Let's set up a patch so that we can hear this in action. In this patch, I'm going to use Multimod 1 to modulate the filter cutoff, which is processing a sampled instrument of a waveform from our mighty M5 sound pack. The frequency and sync controls can be used to dictate the speed that the envelope runs at. When sync is enabled, the multimod will run at divisions of the clock tempo. Let's make a bit more of an interesting shape. The mode affects how the multimod will play through. In one-shot mode, when a key is pressed, the envelope will always run from start to finish. Sustain mode works a little bit like an envelope. This sustain marker shows where the sustain level is. You'll notice that the modulation stops when it gets to this point. If I increase the amp envelope release time, you'll hear that the envelope actually continues from the sustain point after I release a key. Here we're in the sustain, and if I release the key, it continues with the other half of the envelope. So using sustain mode, we can have quite sophisticated envelopes with a sustain section. The final mode is loop. Here we can set start and end loop points. In this way, multimod behaves more like an LFO. Loop mode has two additional parameters, trigger and release. Trigger dictates whether or not the envelope will always start from the beginning when a note on is received. With trigger off, you'll notice that the loop point just loops endlessly. In this way, you can use the multimods as a freewheeling LFO. Release decides whether or not the envelope will continue in the release phase. Multimods, like LFOs, can be switched between bipolar and unipolar mode, and you can control the level from another modulation source. And that's it for this tutorial. Those are the multi-mod modulation sources for Equator2.